Hi, everyone. Another edition of Community Roundup is coming your way from the K News studios at Alpha Media. I'm Gene Nichols, and my guest is Dr. Jenna LeComte-Hinely. She is with the HARC organization here in the Coachella Valley. Doctor, great to have you back with us.
Thank you so much, Gene. I really enjoy being on your show.
We enjoy having you here as a guest and always picking your incredible brain as to what's happening in the medical world and the risks that, of course, are facing all of us out there in that world. And as we look into February and we say, we're thinking of heart, we're thinking of Valentine's Day, you might be thinking of heart as well, but from a slightly different perspective, right?
It's true. Not really the type that goes on a lacy card and is accompanied by chocolate.
So what should we know about the real issue regarding hearts out here, not in terms of romance, but in terms of heart disease and how it might impact any of us?
Exactly. So February is American Heart Month, and this is a month where we want to raise awareness of heart disease and the associated risk factors. And the reason why this is so important is heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. So this is the number one killer that we have in the entire country.
And is that perhaps because we drink too much, we smoke too much, we eat too much, and we do too little?
Exactly. It absolutely has a strong behavioral tie.
Yikes. Okay, so we have to change behavior, but first, some of those startling numbers from HARC, and how are they looking for the Coachella Valley?
So we've found through our research that about 6.4% of the local adult population has heart disease. That's nearly 20,000 people.
Wow.
And while 6.4 doesn't sound like a lot, you have to remember that our research is with people who are living, and many people who suffered a heart incident are no longer among the living, and that's why it's this number one killer.
Yeah, so even if you do have a heart attack, which is something that's preventable, they are also survivable, and so the idea is to have a smaller one instead of a bigger one, right?
Exactly. In fact, about 4% of adults in this valley, about 12,000 people, have had a heart attack already and survived it, so that's always encouraging, probably because of some of our great medical care here. But as you mentioned, it really is related to activities and behaviors. There are some people who have a family history, and that's not controllable. Genetics aren't something you can change, but a lot of the risk factors that contribute to heart disease are completely controllable.
Things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and unfortunately that big D word again, diabetes.
Yes, absolutely, and that's very scary here in our valley because about a third of our adults have high blood pressure or high cholesterol as well. And so that's very, very common here, leading to the conclusion that we have a really high-risk population here for heart disease.
Okay, so put down the booze, put down the ciggy butts, move your butt off the couch and start moving and doing something, or is it that easy?
It is that easy. Honestly, if you can improve your health, even just losing 10 pounds can have a massive, massive impact on your risk of heart disease and your risk of high cholesterol and your risk of blood pressure. So anything you can do to just even lose a few pounds will really improve the quality of life and improve your length of life.
Okay, now, because it is the romantic month, supposedly with Valentine's Day, we have to ask this question. Do relationships, either bad or good, have any kind of an impact on your overall heart health?
You know, that's a really good question, and there is some research showing that people who have strong relationships in their life, whether that's romantic or close friendships, those strong ties really can improve your health and wellness, especially going into old age. Isolation is a very, very serious issue that can damage your health and damage your life expectancy.
However, if you are going to be a loner living in your man cave, as long as you eat well, you might still maybe buy a few extra months on the planet, right?
Exactly. And if you're having your romance with your booze and chocolates, try to make it red wine and dark chocolate because those are both heart healthy.
I'll do that.
In moderation.
And what am I supposed to do? Then knock off my prime rib and instead eat, what, avocados and dark red cherries?
Ooh, it sounds like you know a lot about this. Yes. No, my motto is always everything in moderation. So if it's Valentine's Day and you want to have a, nice 8-ounce steak, that's great. Just don't do it every single week.
And people always look at me and say, you know what, Gene, I really don't like exercise. I don't like to run. I don't like to do this or that. Exercise can take any of a variety of forms. It doesn't have to necessarily be something cardio. You can get a good workout doing something that might be considered anaerobic as long as you breathe and you know, exercise in a way that is beneficial to you. A lot of different things that may not even seem like exercise could be a form of exercise.
Absolutely. I mean, think about something like gardening. That's absolutely exercise. You're using your muscles, you're moving around, you're raising your heart rate, and that's not something, you know, nobody says, well, I'm going to do my hour of gardening today. But there are many ways to sort of sneak in that exercise. My personal one is that when I'm on the phone, I pace. If I have a long phone conversation with my parents or something like that, there's a lot of pacing. There are a lot of steps that go into that.
Aha. And of course, then we have to get reminded of the ever-present threat, which they tell us, you know, don't hold those cell phones too close to your ear for too long because that can give you a whole different type of risk. I'm always reading things that tell me to maybe use a little speaker phone on the phone or some other kind of little system where you don't have that phone pressed right up against your ear. So something's going to get us come heck or high water, isn't it?
It is. I mean, nobody lives forever, so you just got to pick and choose.
All right, speaking of picking and choosing, we couldn't pick who we were born to or the rest of our crazy family members around us. And does that have something to do with maybe the risk of maybe getting old and having the old ticker run out of ticks?
It absolutely does. There is a strong genetic component to heart disease. As I mentioned, there's nothing you can do about that. You cannot change your genes or change that family history, but you can certainly manage your diet and exercise to reduce those chances. That'll be what gets you.
All right, where do we find out more information and all the number crunching that the HARC organization is doing?
Absolutely. If you have any data needs related to any type of health and wellness, please go to our website. It is harcdata.org. That's HARCDATA.org.
And my guest has been Dr. Jenna LeComte-Hinely. She is with HARC here in the Coachella Valley, or Health Assessment and Research for Communities. Dr. Jenna LeComte-Hinely, always great to talk with you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Have a happy and healthy February.
Thank you, we will. I'm Gene Nichols. This is Community Roundup.